All right, so we're going to spool a brand new reel up out here. Give you guys a little bit of tips on this. And I'm going to explain a couple different things based on what reel you have. So right here I've got 40-pound Seaguar smackdown braid in the stealth gray. This is going to be for my top waters, flipping applications. So you hear me talk a lot about the high vis green in the smackdown braid when I'm talking about my spinning reels, but for my flipping applications and stuff, I want that stealth gray. It's gonna just blend in a little bit better. So you'll just peel that little sticker off. My hands are a little cold this morning, so we'll see how well this works out. But what I like to do is actually like to spool the entire rod up. So if I don't already have some sort of backing on there, this is gonna be our first spooling of this line. So we haven't spooled this one up yet. Brand new reel. And the important thing to keep in mind is when you're spooling this up, if you've got a real deep spool on your reel, it's a really good idea to put some sort of backing on there. You know, whether you just take a Brazex or something, and if you do it in a 20 or 25 pound, it takes up a lot less space. All right, so you save a lot of money in the long run by just taking that and putting that backing on to fill up. The other thing you got to pay attention to is whether or not your spool has holes in it. So where this spool has some gaps in it where I can tie the braid through, I don't have to worry about it slipping. But if you don't have that, you need to put backing on, because the braid is so smooth that you can actually run into issues with it slipping. But we'll go through here. T-wing system makes it really easy, but push your line through your line guide, and then you can see how it has these little holes in here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take that braid, put a little bit of saliva on it. It just makes it a little bit stiffer, and then I will run that through those holes. So if you free spool this, you can pull it back. So that's going to keep that from being able to spin at all and slip on my spool. But if you don't have those holes or this shallow spool, you want to make sure to put some type of backing. Now, on a flipping rod, I'm never going to get to the bottom of this because I've got my drag lock down pretty much, unless I hook like a 30-pound bass. This thing is staying locked down, and I'm just going to put them in the boat. So make a couple little knots there, and then I like to clip that really close. And then all I'm going to do is click my drag over. If it's a brand new reel, you have to tighten your drag down because your drag will be loose. Then what I like to do is I'll actually hold my spool in one hand coming off the bottom. So if someone else is holding it, you have it coming off the top. But since I am holding it, I'll hold it from the bottom. And the reason for that is it's going to go off the spool and onto the spool on my reel the same direction. So it's just going to lay a lot more smoothly. And then I just hold my rod with my pinky, set it up against, and reel it on. So super simple. I can do this by myself. And that's the filler spools like this are really nice. It's a little trickier if you do it with like your big bulk spools, but just reel this on. Keep going. And on your spool, you'll see where you have a little angle change where it's flat up the sides, and then it makes that little change where it starts to roll over. I like to go just below that. But I see a lot of people that just don't fill their spool up enough. So that's about perfect right there. That's about how full try to keep all of my reels. That's going to give you better casting distance and just a lot more accuracy if you're able to have that. If you don't have that spool filled up, you end up shortchanging yourself on that. Then what you want to do, come back, pull that line in there inside that little gap, and you can throw that sticker back over it, trim it off, and you're good to go. We've still got enough line on there to probably do at least one more reel that has that shallow spool on it. So I could use this for at least 2 flipping reels. Like I said, that shallow spool, you don't need to put any backing on it. And then depending on what kind of cover I'm fishing, I'll either tie a straight braid or I'll go to a fluorocarbon leader.